Me again. My name is Sheila Kamara-Hay. I'm the founder of Ecstatic Birth, and I am an ecstatic birth advocate, which means I raise awareness for expectant moms and practitioners that birth can be one of the most pleasurable, empowering, and transformative events in a woman's life. And I also share tools and resources to help you create that, whether that's for yourself or for your clients. So today's topic is the role of the father in ecstatic birth. Now, I get a lot of questions about dads, and when I'm working with private clients, this is something that comes up repeatedly. How can I get my guy on board? What can he do to support me in this process? And to really answer that question, we need to look at, and again, your partner can be male or female, but we're going to be talking about like the masculine energy, the masculine presence. So when I'm referring to father, that's what I'm referring to. So the masculine wants to serve and protect. The masculine wants to make sure that you're safe. It's the sort of that like energy of wanting to care for his family, wanting to care for his loved ones. And so when you're trying to create something that's different from what we see every day in the world outside of us, that can bring stuff up. That can bring stuff up really for anybody in your life of why are you deviating from the norm? The norm exists for a reason. So here, when we're trying to like upgrade and up-level a woman's experience of birth, to try to do something a little bit differently can be very triggering, especially when we are in such a fear-based culture where fears are what we're addressing in childbirth more so than the normal, natural, physiological process of birth. So right now, our entire system is based on fear, all the things that can go wrong, and alleviating that fear. So when we're thinking about our partners, and when we're thinking about these incredible beings that want to protect us and take care of us and make sure that we're safe, to understand that that's the place that they're coming from, and those are, for the most part, the underlying triggers is really key. And to address those fears and to get a partner on board with an ecstatic birth, you really, the thing that tends to be most effective is addressing those underlying issues of safety. So as much as you're educating yourself or your clients or about safety aspects of birth. How can birth as a normal physiological process be as safe as possible, especially if you're talking about a natural birth, if you're talking about locations outside of hospitals or whatever the dominant location is that people birth where you're located. So addressing issues of safety with statistics, with information, that's key. Once you address those and your partner's on board, what can he do in the birthing room? So again, imagining from the perspective of wanting to keep you safe, wanting to keep his, the mother of his child safe. It can be very difficult for a man in the birthing room to watch his wife going through labor because he feels helpless. How can he support her? How can he support the birthing process? He feels helpless. He understands that she's going through an intense experience, and childbirth is, it can be an intense experience. It is a rite of passage, and so when I'm talking about ecstatic birth, I'm not necessarily talking about, oh, it's so easy. Rite of passages are not necessarily easy, but they are passages. Rites of passages, if you think about like weddings, births, most graduations, most rites of passages, they might not be easy, but they are inherently primed for levels of joy and transformation, beyond your day-to-day. So again, going back into the birthing room, and a woman is in the midst of the birthing process, full glory, intensity of it, and the father is watching. Now, this can provoke feelings of fear and anxiety, right? Because he wants to protect you. He wants to make sure he's safe. He doesn't really know how to do that. He can witness that you're going through an intense experience, but doesn't really know how to support you. So that's what I'm here to talk about today. What is the role of the father in ecstatic birth? How can he support you in making a pleasurable birth experience, an empowering birth experience, and above all, a safe birth experience? So that feeling of fear, that feeling of anxiety, that feeling of helplessness needs to be transmuted, because there's one thing that we know is that the birthing field is contagious. So if someone is coming into the birthing room and is holding fear, tension, anxiety in their body, that can become contagious to the birthing woman. That can disrupt her birthing process. So the first thing you need to know, if that's the number one thing that's present, maybe you don't even want him there. And that's traditionally, birth was women's work. Birthing women were supported by women. The men were not a part of it. Now our culture has really shifted, where this idea of partnership, of bringing in the family together, of including the masculine in the birthing room, it has really shifted, and in a really beautiful way. So how do we transmute those feelings of fear and anxiety that a man might have in the birthing room? You need to give him clear things to do. And those clear things that really address that underlying need that he has to make sure that you're safe, that you're protected, that he's supporting you as best that he can. And once he has those things, then he can put his energy in that direction instead of just kind of like churning within himself about, how can I help here? I don't know what to do. I'm scared. I see my partner going through an intense experience. Give him clear things to do. So I have, I've written down a few of my top tips when I'm working with private clients, things that I suggest for their partners to do, and everyone's relationship is different. So you're going to feel into what resonates with you and what works best for you. The first suggestion I have is to have him protect the sanctity of the space. So the birthing space needs to be a space where if you're giving birth, you feel calm, you feel safe, you feel protected, it feels like cozy. And so especially in locations outside of the home or even within the home, you don't want really people flowing in and out of there. You want to really keep that container safe. So the father can really help protect the sanctity of the space, whether that's in the home or in a birthing center or at a hospital, ensuring that there's nobody in the space that doesn't really need to be there, ensuring that the environment is calm and that, the birthing woman is really protected and in a space that supports her flow. The next thing is he can support you physically, right? So there's a lot of surrendering that needs to happen in the physical body when you're giving birth. And so you can use all kinds of props and things to hold on to and lean on. You can also use your partner. And that's a beautiful thing because, if he's there and he can support you and physically so that you can release into his body, whether, his arms are behind you, around you, and you can just kind of surrender backwards, or the opposite, you're leaning forward into his arms and surrendering downward, to be able to support you physically in that way. It's a beautiful thing, and it also starts to get your oxytocin flowing because of your connection, because of the love and bond that you share. Now, let's take that to the next level. If he's supporting your oxytocin flow through his physical presence, he can also up that by helping your sensual and sexual energy flow. So anything that gets you turned on, anything that expands the delicious feelings in your body, whether it's just nuzzling or kissing or rubbing, or even if you're feeling, if you really want to go for it and have sex or orgasms or any of that during birth, really all supports the flow of your labor and delivery. So that's something that a lot of partners are very happy to support in, and something that, depending again on where you're giving birth, might feel a little bit like triggery, especially if you're in an environment where there are outsiders looking in on you. In which case, another role that fathers really like to take on is making you laugh. Now, laughter is an incredible tool for birth because when you laugh, you're opening up your mouth, you're opening up your throat area, and when you do that, you're also opening up the saying in the birth world is as above, so below. So when your throat and mouth are relaxed, so is your, so it helps your cervix open, it helps your cervix relax, it helps your vaginal tissues open. So laughter is an incredible tool, and making you laugh is a wonderful way for a partner to support you in birth. Now, reminders. One of the things we do in the work with my private clients is really get you tuned into your body and how you hold tension in your body, especially in moments that feel particularly intense. And so for a lot of women, you'll start to notice patterns about where you grip, where you hold tension. And once you have that awareness, you can tell your partner, you can tell your support team, hey, can you remind me when you see that I'm having a particularly intense moment, can you just remind me to check in with my hips and make sure my right hip especially is open and the energy's flowing freely? Or hey, can you remind me to check in with my shoulders so that I drop them and let the energy flow freely? So that's one way that they can remind you and support you. And another way is just if you have any mantras, any visions that you want to tap into. So I have some women actually make like a little cheat sheet for their husband, like ways that you can support me in the delivery of our baby. And that way they can reference like, oh, they can whisper the mantras in your ear. They can remind you to check in with your body. So all of these are some really powerful ways for fathers, for partners to support you in childbirth and help create that ecstatic birth experience that you may be desiring, help create that empowering, transformative, and pleasurable birth experience that you desire. So I would love to invite you, whether you're watching this live or you're watching this later, if you have any comments or questions, to please go ahead and put that in the comment box. And whether you do that now live or you do it after the fact, I will be monitoring this. So I'm happy to answer any questions at any point along the way. But if you walk away with one thing from watching this video, I want it to be this, is that your partner wants to make sure that you are safe and protected. And the more you can give him the tools to make that happen, the more you can empower him in his role to make that happen, the more you can share things that you need so that he can support you in those to make that happen, the better he will be able to stand in his role of supporting you and empowering you and protecting you and step away from his anxiety and his fear. It helps mellow it out. So I hope this was helpful. I hope you enjoyed this. Again, if you have any questions or comments, please go ahead and put it right here on the Facebook page. I am here every Thursday at 12:30 Eastern Time to share about a different aspect of ecstatic birth. And if you found this useful, if you know people that will enjoy it, please share it. I would appreciate that a lot. And it helps to elevate the conversation about birth and helps to elevate the experience that women are having to get this information. So lots of love, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Bye.